Hey folks, it's Billy DKY, the truth seeker that simplifies and demystifies. This is going to be a continuation of the explaining the FWG principles and whatnot, and this is going to be the apply yourself principle number 1. And for those you've been keeping track of it, yes, I've been gone for the last few days as far as doing videos because I've been moved to a new spot, got my own apartment and whatnot, and so let's get started. You have to be willing to apply yourself to change. None of the other 8 principles will help you without the willingness to change. I think it's obvious, but it definitely needs to be said because, you know, it ain't about believing anything. It's about changing, and it's the willingness to change is the first step. It's like having a seed in your hand but not willing to plant it. I mean, that's what it is. It's a seed. It's just sitting there. It's got full of potential, and it's just waiting for you to plant it in the ground, wait for you to get the right water, the conditions are right, and likewise, you're the same way. This knowledge, the FWG is all the knowledge and the potential to reach your full potential, and it's just waiting for you to apply it. And I guess really maybe waiting for circumstances in your life to change so that you'll be willing to change, or to get started. I understand your hesitation because it took me 6 months of progress before I was willing to commit myself fully to the path. You know, I had to see good results, and then once I seen good results, I was like, okay, this is what I really need to do. And obviously I didn't know FWG, but I knew meditation and stuff like that was the way to go. If you aren't willing to change, then ask yourself, why aren't you willing to change? Are you protecting something? Are you protecting some egotistical thing? Are you protecting some pleasurable indulgence? And again, attachments are using things beyond their usefulness. And again, FWG is about growing. It's not about being stagnant in any way. Whatever it is you're holding on to, it ain't worth it. Let it go and learn how to thrive. Or it could be, are you aware that there is a problem? Maybe you've got so far off track with pleasure and ego that you don't even see that you're the biggest problem in your life, and that pleasure has basically dulled your mind and sillied it up in all kinds of different ways that you're just not aware anymore. So most people have to hit rock bottom before they're willing to change. I know I did. So if you're just watching these videos, fine. And when you hit rock bottom, you'll know what to do. You'll have the knowledge, the wisdom, the insight, and you'll know who to come back to when things really get off course. FWG is about thriving, not martyrhood, which supposedly martyrhood is not a word, but I like it. I'm going to use it anyway. It's about giving up things that are holding you back from thriving, which are yourself, that's ego, principle 7, and the pursuit of pleasures, which again is principle 7. FWG isn't just about fulfilling your survival needs, but fulfilling your needs that help you thrive. And I've been struggling with this because I sort of thought it was just base minimal, you know, survival, which it's not really that. I mean, I could probably survive on 1 cup of rice a day, but you know, I mean, why would I want to do that when I've got all these other fruits and vegetables that are so amazing? You know, I want a variety of different things to eat. So again, and here's my struggle this week on, you know, focusing on my survival needs versus thriving. And I was getting a washer and dryer because I didn't have one. Those of you been keeping track know I was past living in my mother's, because that's what the path does. It takes you to rock bottom to bring you back up into society where you belong. And I was getting a washer and dryer, and I was looking at it, and there's several different models, and I was like, really, the only thing I want a washer and dryer for, all I need a washer and dryer for, is to keep me out of a laundromat, because I don't really want to be there. You know, I'm be more productive, getting this book done, wash clothes here, work on the book at the same time. And then I started thinking, you know, and then I looked and I looked at another brand, you know, just a little higher up, and I was like, yeah, I like those too. And then there's one models that really, I mean, everybody was excited about them. I was excited the way, you know, they worked, you know, the stuff that had in it, and I was like, and it still wasn't like super that much more expensive than when I was buying. I was like, you know what? Every time I use it, I'm going to be excited. It's going to cause me to grow. It's going to cause me to thrive. It's not going to cause me to go, man, these are a piece of crap. And it's the same way with this apartment. I got a great apartment instead of some, you know, just podunk apartment, which was, you know, that would fulfill a roof over my head, but really wouldn't cause me to do my best possible work. And I read a book on creativity, and it talked about really the big part of creativity is having an environment that inspires you. So again, FWG is not about some martyrhood and starving yourself. It's about thriving. It's about giving up things that get in your way from thriving. So, okay. And again, let's keep it back in reality. Imagine you go to the store, you buy a tomato plant. Oh, it looks so beautiful. Then you plant it in the crappiest part of your yard. Yes, it probably will survive and it probably produce the absolute minimum tomatoes. However, you could have picked out the best part of the yard where it has the most sun, or the conditions are right. Maybe put a little Miracle Grow on it, or whatever, cow manure, whatever you feel like is necessary. Make sure it has plenty of water, and you have a whole abundance of tomatoes. So again, always keep your thoughts back to reality and match it up with reality, which that'll be principle 6. So anyway, we'll be talking about that later. And this is what sort of brought up this martyrhood thing. I met this woman, she was so happy and proud that she was suffering for God. I'm like, the only reason you suffer in this life is because you're attached to some pleasure, egotistical thing. If you're suffering for God, that's not how it really goes. I mean, you have to work hard. Like, I'm going to have to work hard to get this spiritual movement going. And people who are listening, they're going to have to work hard to make real progress. But it's not working hard for not results. It's working hard for results. And it's not about feeling sorry for yourself or putting a big badge on yourself. Oh, I'm suffering because of God. No, it's not about that at all. I mean, yes, I've had to suffer a lot, but it was due to my own ignorance. And so that's why I'm preaching this. So you can maybe avoid some of your ignorance and, get on to making real spiritual progress. So forget about being a martyr. Okay, FWG isn't a cult or crazy talk because it's all so simple and common sense. Plus, I link it back to reality too much, like I did with the tomato plant. I look for validation in reality. I don't look at it in a rigid scientific program. I look for validation in reality, and I also look for validation in my personal life. Does it really work? So it's about using scientific principles without getting too caught up and having to be technically stiff about being scientific. Until you're willing to die to yourself ego, you aren't going to go anywhere with FWG. Until you love the truth more than anything else, and that includes you, yourself, ego, you're not ready for FWG. Well, at least not really. You're not really ready yet. Everybody, it seems, has too many lines in the sand that they aren't willing to cross. It's just a bunch of ego lines in their mind. I'll do this, but I won't do that. So, I mean, they keep holding themselves back all the time, and it's ridiculous. The only person really holding you back is you, and what you get out of life is what you put into life. And I'm putting a lot into life, and I expect a lot out of it, and it'll be the same for you. And again, if you can get over your ego, you're not going to really be willing to apply yourself. I was talking to my sister, and she's like, not everybody wants to grow. I was like, oh my God, give me a break. I'm like, I'm not doing this to starve myself, kill myself, or be a martyr. I'm doing this to thrive. Anyway. Apply yourself as the first principle, because without a willingness to change, none of the other principles really work. Even in the questioning of your ego to get started on the journey, you're still applying yourself. Believe it or not, a lot of people use their problems as a crutch for not trying. Without actually trying, you can say something like this: I could have done that, or I could have been somebody, or I'm smarter than them. I just never got a chance. It's 100% egotistical bullcrap. Nothing but an egotistical cop-out. They are trapped by their egos and don't know it. Okay. So basically it's like this. You have to be willing to change yourself. You have to be willing to change. You don't have to necessarily believe what I'm telling you. And again, here's something that, let's look at this real quick. It's a real brief. This is something I developed the other day when in the process of moving. I thought it was really interesting. I've talked about it before. At the ultimate, you have a higher power, everything's energy, whatever you want to call it. And then from there, you got growth. And then from there is the nine principles. And then down below that, you have to think for yourself. So this gives you the model how it really works once you decide you want to apply yourself. Once you decide you really want to grow, you apply the 9 principles. And then the 9 principles is just a general solution to life's problems. And then once you get into specifics, you have to learn to think for yourself. So I'm not claiming to know all the answers. I claim to have figured out the ultimates, and then I know how to solve problems efficiently. And then the most efficient way to solve problems is for you to solve a problem for yourself. Think for yourself. So until the next video in this series, later folks. And there will be a playlist, and I'll attach this to the first video I did on It's All About Growth. Till the next video, later folks.